Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Lead with Love podcast with Dr. Q, where we talk about love, leadership, and real life lessons that actually matter. And if you're here right now, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. And this is my joy. I'm in my joy. And like I told all leaders, I hope that you're watching this podcast from a space that's filling you up and that's bringing you joy. I'm actually being a dance mom, so if you get a chance, go check out my Dance Mom Chronicles, the Lead with Love version. So hopefully you are taking me up on that directive I gave you last week, and that you are filling your cup so that you can come back ready to give more to the people that you love. Today I want to share something with you all that I said in my TEDx talk. Please go check it out on YouTube. And I mean every single word of what I'm about to tell you. I believe that communication can cure cancer. Now, before you close the app, I'm not talking about the chronic disease. However, please make sure you get your screenings so that you can be safe and know where you stand. But I am talking about something else entirely. I'm talking about the toxic cancer that is quietly eating alive the culture, the spirit, the performance, and the people of organizations all over the world. The cancer of assumption, the cancer of not assuming goodwill, the cancer of misinformation, the cancer of he said this and she said that, the cancer of silence, the cancer of fear, the fear of not knowing, the fear of being the last to find out, the fear of what the closed door meeting means. Y'all know what I'm talking about. The cancer of just not taking the time to care enough to say anything at all. That cancer, communication cures it every single time. And I want to tell you a story that makes this real personal for me, because I did not learn this lesson in a leadership book. And this is why I'm a professor, because leadership lessons aren't always in a textbook. I actually learned it in a relationship with a wonderful man who loved me well, and with whom I still almost completely failed to communicate. He was a little introverted, and I'm completely not, if you know me. And he processed everything very internally. And I process everything out loud, in real time, in real life, with whoever is nearby. And neither of us, for far too long, took the time to tell the other one how we needed to be communicated with. And I would call, and he would not answer, and I would spiral into what that silence may have meant. He would need space to think, and I would show up with all of my feelings ready to talk. And what should have been a thriving relationship, that's a helicopter, what should have been a thriving relationship developed cracks, and not from the lack of love, because we love each other, but from a lack of intentional, honest, courageous communication on both of our ends. And what I eventually learned about that relationship and about every single organization that I have ever led is this: the absence of communication does not create peace. It creates a vacuum. And people fill vacuums with their worst fears every single time. So today we are previewing the C in Just Care, one of my favorites, communicate. This is not a full deep dive that we're going to take, okay? That's going to be coming in Q3. So keep following Q in the next few Qs. And it's going to be one of the most powerful seasons of this podcast. But today, I just want to introduce you to what communication in leadership really is, what happens when it breaks down, and one thing that you can start doing this week to close the gap, if you so choose, because your organization cannot wait until Q3. It can't wait. It needs to start right now. So let's first talk about what happens when communication breaks down. Let me describe an organization with a communication problem. And so as I describe it, I want you all to notice whether any of it sounds familiar within your own organization, your own home, your own team. The leader thinks that they've communicated clearly. The team has a completely different understanding of what was communicated. Decisions get made at the top and arrive at the bottom, distorted, delayed, or not even at all. People find out about changes from the rumor mill before they hear it from leadership. Staff meetings cover logistics, but never address the things that people are actually worried about. And when someone finally rises a concern, the leader is genuinely surprised. Genuinely. Because why? Because they thought everyone was fine, but they weren't. That is not a rare organization. That is most organizations. Yeah. And according to a study by the Economist Intelligence Unit, poor communication in the workplace costs all U.S. businesses an estimated of $1.2 trillion annually. Not a lack of strategy, not a lack of talent, but from a lack of clear, consistent, caring communication. Communication. George Bernard Shaw, let me tell you what he said. He said the single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it's actually taken place. I want you all to listen to that again. The single biggest problem is the illusion it took place, the illusion that has taken place. Leaders send an email and think they have communicated. Leaders make an announcement in a meeting and think that everyone understood it. Leaders say something once in a business season and assume that it landed. But communication is not about the sending. It is about receiving. And if the message did not land, guess what? Especially if it didn't land in the way that it was intended, with the clarity that it required, then communication did not take place. The illusion of communication did. And when people do not know what is happening, anxiety and fear increase, creativity declines, trust erodes, performance suffers, and the leader who genuinely thought that they were communicating is the last to understand why. And that is important for you all to understand and for you all to know. So here is one of my Qisms, and I want you to write this down, okay? Communication communicates that you care, period. That ends with a T, not a D, period. Y'all, you have to have a young child to understand that. But when you take the time to tell someone what is happening, to explain the why behind a decision, to address the rumor before it becomes a narrative, to check in before someone has to come to you, you are saying something without words. You are saying that no matter what, you matter enough for me to keep you informed. You matter enough for me to make sure that you are not left wondering. That is care in action. And here is what surface level communication looks like in contrast. Kind of bringing cookies to the boardroom, but never really sitting down to ask how people are doing. Sending a whole company-wide email about a major change without any follow-up conversations. Or even kind of having an open door policy, but making people feel like a burden when they walk through it. Checking the communication box without ever actually connecting. Real communication is not about frequency of messages. It's not the frequency. It is about the relationship between the communicator and the receiver. Do your people trust that what you tell them is true? Do they trust you? Do they believe that you will tell them what they need to know before they have to find out some other kind of way? Do they feel safe asking questions when they do not understand? Those are some real questions. That trust that you want to build is going to be built one conversation at a time, one honest message at a time, one courageous conversation at a time. And it is destroyed quickly and sometimes permanently every single time a leader chooses silence over transparency, comfort over courage, or assumption over communication. Hold on. I'm almost done. And I told you today is just a preview. And Q3 is where we're going to go all the way in. But I refuse to leave you without something that you can do right now, because your organization is dealing with a communication gap this week. I do not need to know your organization to know that this is true. Every single organization is dealing with this. Teams, families, homes, relationships. So here is your one thing that I want you all to do. Think about something your team does not fully know that they need to know. Maybe it's a decision that is coming. Maybe it is a change in direction. Maybe it's something that you have been meaning to address, but have been putting it off because the conversation feels difficult, hard, or challenging. Maybe it is simply that you see how exhausted everyone is and you have not said it out loud. So, as I close this week, I want you to communicate it, not through an email, in person, or even on video if you're remote, face to face where possible, with honesty, with context, with invitation for questions. And watch what happens when people feel informed. Watch how the anxiety in the room begins to lower. Watch how trust ticks upward. And watch how people begin to respond when the leader chooses transparency over silence. Watch. Don't believe me? Just watch. Don't believe me? Just watch. That is the power of communication. And we are just getting started. So before I let you go, remember, Lead with Love, 8 heart-centered strategies for exceptional leadership is available for you online on Amazon. And chapter 5 is all about communication, and it goes deep into the tools, the stories, the research, and the framework for becoming the kind of communicating leader that your people can actually trust. Okay? All right, so next week we are going to be previewing another very, very powerful leather from Just Care. The A, another one of my favorites. I think they're all my favorites. Affirm, acknowledge, and account for. The Triple A effect. It is one of my personal favorites. I love them, but it's my personal favorite. And I think it is going to speak directly to where a lot of you are right now, heading as you're into summer. You do not want to miss it, okay? And that relationship that I started out telling you about at the beginning of this episode, it did not end, it wasn't because there was no love. In that space, it had to end it because we struggled because of the love was not communicated in the way that we needed to receive it. And until that can happen, no relationship in any space can be fruitful. Organizations are the exact same. Teams that struggle are not always teams that lack commitment or talent or vision. They are often teams where the love, the care, the investment, and the belief in each other is real but uncommunicated. Sitting inside people, unexpressed, unable to do its work. Your job as a leader is to say it. Is to say it. To name it. to tell people what is happening, what you see in them, and what you believe is possible, and what you are committed to out loud, consistently, courageously. All right, y'all? Communication is the cure, and it starts with who? The leader. It always starts with you. So thank you so much for joining me on the Lead with Love podcast. And if today's message spoke to you, I want you to share it with a leader whose organization is quietly suffering from a communication breakdown, because the cure is closer than you all may think. Don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss out on episode 25 next week, all right? The AAA effect. And remember, leading with love is not a one-time decision. What is it? It's a daily choice. So please, until next time, make sure you all lead with love. And go fill your cups, leaders. Have an amazing week. Bye.